just joshing. I am your host, Joshua Penteleresco. That's a lot since you've last been on here too, huh? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
this is a new format for you too. So this is Betsy Ross, right? Now I was joking. I was on Twitch just prior to it, just supporting my various places I support there, and they were talking. You get to speak to the undead. It's like, yeah, because Betsy Ross is like apparently it's like, yeah. And then we started talking about
Absolutely.
that led to going the Ouija boards and to like the paranormal, which I've had my own experiences with this weird wide world. Like this world is crazy in like the best kind of ways,
Oh
and we've
yeah.
all seen stuff that makes us go, right?
Hmm.
At some point in our lives, I would hope, right? I,
No doubt.
I, yeah, I actually think, what, truthfully, I honestly think the worst nightmare about this world is if the world was exactly what people thought it was. It's like it's just this nice little bubble that you think exists. That
I
would
could
be
see
hell,
that.
wouldn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Think so?
It's like I don't know. It's a lot to take in.
It was a big way to start, right? But I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
just like I took an undead joke and added a big philosophical question
Yeah, you
right
did.
right in the I did. But I mean, it's what I do. I make an ass of myself on the show. It's kind of how this rocks and rolls, So,
That's all you can do.
but no, I literally like I was just thinking like I had to stop the other day because we are in this very strange time. We're in this really weird place where it's like, hey, you know, I don't think we should be going this way. And that's my opinion. And other people will disagree with me, I'm sure. But I mean, I really don't. I think we took a very bad left turn. It's going to take a while before we round the car back. But while we go through this crazy little ride, it has occurred to me that this whole normal thing, this whole like concept of like normalization stuff like that. I think it sucks. What do you? What do you think?
No, I strongly agree.
Yeah, yeah. So, what have you been up to since we last chatted? Like, what do you want to talk about? Because
Golly.
you have a lot of stuff you've been doing.
I'm trying to remember the last time we did speak. Wasn't it like 2, 3 years ago?
About that, yeah.
Roughly. It's like
Roughly, yeah.
time a lot. It's like where
A
do I
lot.
go? Where do I start?
Yeah.
Let's see. I went back to school. I had another kid. I went changed jobs multiple times. I have Fight 3 out now. I have started Fight 4. Um, I guess that's the gist of the craziness.
That's the
And
gist.
it's
Like
yeah, I
that's
know
the
it
sweet.
sounds so like blah, but it's like the world is just my world is just chaos. It's just chaos. No sleep. Caffeine is barely
Caffeine.
keep it going.
Okay, well, let's see. Look there. Chaos is normal. I actually I had this really big. So we're gonna talk big thoughts here, and I'm sorry, we're gonna go big thoughts. We'll talk
Okay.
little because I like you're taking care of kids and you're being a super mom, and we'll talk about that too. But life has changed, and I learned this very early in life was that like this idea of this normal stable thing is a fiction. It's a construct. It doesn't actually really exist. Life is just it's a constantly moving thing. It's about we change all the time. Since we've last talked, I have been in 3 different cities. I've lived in 3 different cities since we've last chatted.
Wow.
Right. I've released some more books myself. My podcast apparently won an award. Who the hell knew? Right. And
Very good.
yeah. And one of my books got nominated for an award too. Like so, I mean, I'm apparently good at my job. Don't tell anybody. I quit my job. I've been freelancing for last year and a bit. I figured out. I figured out that this life is almost entirely about your mindset.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would
So
strongly agree.
yeah, it's totally about your mindset. It's circumstances almost don't matter. I actually I had that big epiphany about that. It's like they almost they do because they put pressure on you. They create different pressures, like solving problems. Like for example, you got kids to feed. That's a circumstance that you have to deal with on a regular basis,
Right.
right? Hence why you've tried to get regular work. I get the feeling though with you that if you could, you'd be a lot more self-reliant than getting a job if you had your way a lot more. And if I'm
Very
not
true.
and if I'm not mistaken, you've been probably quietly this is a guess, this is just a guess, not a surety, just a guess. You've been quietly working at that since we've last chatted.
It's a very good guess.
Yeah.
That is a very good guess.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean,
what are you actually up to? That's what I really wanna know because see that see, here's the big thing I see. Nurses today are going through what you've went through in the past. I think the worst thing about, um, North America in general, the last thing you wanna be labeled is a hero. Because it's almost like pride going before the fall, right? Because eventually, like it's I feel like, and I've been feeling this for a long time. We really don't know how to treat people that serve in a variety of different ways. Doesn't matter if it's military, nurse, firefighter, police officer, right? And I'm not saying there aren't problems in some things. Like I think the weirdest thing about living in the United States when I lived in the United States when I lived in Phoenix, I walked out of the airport and there's this gentleman with that's security, not a cop, with like a semi-automatic in his holster. And somehow I think that this is not exactly what I would want to see in my airport because I don't know if a security guy who may or I've seen some security people, they may or may not be able to count to 5. Some of them are good, some of them are great, but some of them are on, shall we say, the shallower end of the gene pool, and you're giving those people that kind of thing. I'm not sure that's a good idea. But at the same time, I mean, the majority of she's trying not to laugh because I can, you can kind of already see it in her head. She's like, "Yep, that's about right. Yep, I
yeah.
had the same thought too." And I went to my like whatever your drink of choice is shortly thereafter, probably like I did, because like, what the hell is this kind of world? But it's just like, but for the most part, like I've met people, National Guard, most nurses,
Hmm.
doctors, like most people that are doing these things legitimately want to serve people. That's all they want. Like they want to do something bigger than themselves and make a big difference. And what tends to happen is sooner or later, hey, you're a hero. And then at some point, the rug gets pulled out from underneath these people. And I don't think it's cool.
Well, unfortunately, with most things in life, it is kind of a double-edged sword at some point. You'll see, like in the media or something, they'll boast about, oh, we need nurses, especially with the whole pandemic thing. That's a great analogy. With the whole pandemic thing, everything, I mean, all of a sudden, nurses, doctors, everything in the medical field needed to be there and basically spending the night or living at hospitals to take care of so many patients coming in. But then all of a sudden now they're turning it on them and saying, well, you were a hero then, now you need to do this, like taking a vaccine or whether you agree with it or not. Or, they just have like so many agendas behind being a hero. And I've seen it too, being in the military. I've seen it in various industries. And it's just very sad that, like you said, people, well, I think everyone's just lost their minds, but everyone's kind of, I guess, just relying on our emotions. So we're just reacting on those emotions. And then, of course, with political agendas and everything else.
I came to a glorious epiphany about this whole time. Would you like to hear my glorious
Of
epiphany?
course.
We're all crazy. I acknowledge my batshitness, and I now just like, well, what can I do in this time? And by and large, I'm not going to worry about it. Right? There are things I'm going to fight against. Like I'm very anti-vaccine passport. I think that's a terrible idea. But at the same time, I also recognize the fact too that that's going to be an issue probably for at least the next couple of years, regardless of where you stand on it. And I recognize like I'm not going to change everybody's minds today. So what can I do right now? Well, I can have conversations with lovely people like yourself, right? Tell terrible undead jokes, get you to think, get you to smile a little bit because the world isn't all bad. Crazy,
True.
yes,
True.
but not all bad. And I can do that in this time, and all the while eating some chocolate cake. It was my birthday yesterday, so
Happy birthday.
yeah, yeah. So I had chocolate cake. So life is interesting and good and wonderful, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on. I finished my next book, like I said, so that's kind of coming out, and yeah, like shit, stuff like that. Like that I can worry about. You know, watching my like our government's never. Thank you, Miss Jag. Happy birthday! Thank you for the belated birthday wishes. But the thing is, knowing that the world's always been crazy, right? The world's always actually been crazy. So I I've learned I knew this a long time ago. And so my question is, okay, what do I buy into? It's like, well, I'm going to be kind. I'm going to give everybody their space and let them be themselves because that's what I do anyway. And for the rest, fuck it. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm too old to be scared. Yes, I'm too old to be scared. And that sounds like a really dumb thing to say, but I ain't going to walk away from this world. Might as well just do what the fuck I want. Right? It sounds I know that sounds very like blah, but it's like really what else is there? And you got greeted. You should say hi to Jag, Betsy.
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. Betsy is a writer slash veteran slash all around ass kicker. That's who she is.
I don't know about all that, but I appreciate it.
I do.
I am basically a crazy woman just living on the edge.
That's that again. I honestly, I'm gonna give you a huge compliment right now. I hope you're ready for this.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's gonna blush probably. You're one of the bravest people I know. And I'll tell you why I say that because you will stand up for your opinion. You really don't give a damn what other people think. You just go out there and you speak your mind, and you do it all the time. And the thing is, good, bad, like people agree, people disagree. Sometimes I've seen people laugh at you. Sometimes I've seen other things. I've seen other reactions, but you still do it anyway.
True.
I don't know. I like what little you do have control. I mean, what little you do have control over. You stand firm in what you believe in, and I cannot help but admire that. That's actually actually in a time like this, especially, that's quite brave.
Oddly, I don't see it as bravery. I mean, I guess in a sense, outside looking in, if I saw someone in your position, if I saw someone standing up for what they believe in, I'd probably think the same. But being in my shoes, oftentimes it seems like it's more of a heartache, especially being in the medical field. I've been fired from jobs because of standing up for patient care, and it's just heartbreaking because it's like, am I meant to be in this type of career? Should I be in the medical field at all? Because I care too much. But at the same time, someone's got to stand up. And I've learned that I can't depend on everyone else to, take initiative, do the right thing. So might as well do it. Now, if other people might do it eventually if they see someone else, but if not you, then who? And
Exactly.
so it's
So
that's just
and when you're the first, that's actually, again, first person to stand up's the hardest. It's the hardest one. It's really the hardest one. When
Kind of.
everybody stand right, the first and the second, like the first person's like, well, if no one follows, it's still like, hey, you know what, you said something. No matter what, like you said something. But if one inspires somebody else, which inspires somebody else and somebody else, there's a point where it becomes a momentum wave, right? It can shift the other way. So one person can change the world with their opinion. I truly do believe that. And it takes guts to say that opinion. And I mean, that might sound like a truly crazy way of looking at it, but I still remember here's my own experience with that. I remember I was living in Calgary. I take public transit. People will probably laugh at me for that, but it's like I take public transit. And so one day I'm sleeping and I wake up and I see this crazed like brother doing like literally I hear him fighting with his sister in the back. The next thing I know, this is right before I go home. I'm literally a block from my house. Like literally a block from my house. Like I'm literally like I'm the next stop. I am literally the next stop away. And he starts choking her on the bus. And so the first reaction I had was, okay, the bus driver needs to handle this because it's his bus. He should do it. So the bus driver goes up and tries to stop it. Guy slams the bus driver into his seat. Bus driver can't touch him, apparently. So I'm like, I look around and nobody else is standing up. So I stand up because I have a sister. And if someone did that to my sister, I'd probably be in jail. Like, I'm not even joking. I'd be in jail. I mean, it's like, maybe I have to go to the hospital too, but I'd be ending up in jail. And so I stood between them. I got him to leave the bus, and you know, I didn't do it for any like award or anything like that. I just this was wrong, and somebody had to stand up, and if not me, somebody like who, and no one else would have. I think something might bad might have happened to that person. So right after he gets off, the cops come on, and I have to answer some questions and stuff like that because of what happened and things of that nature. I got thanks from both the driver and the cops. They both thanked because it was just like I was able to stand up for a hostile. Nothing big, but again, I was the only one to stand up, right? And that taught me a very valuable. It's a very valuable thing. Sometimes we all know what the right thing is, I think, but true bravery is, again, knowing the right thing isn't brave. Doing something about it is, even if it's just to speak your opinion. So,
Yeah, I would strongly agree with that. And to that woman, that meant everything. So even
mhm,
if it was just a small deed to somebody, that could have been a very big deal. And that's what I think people forget as far as doing something right, something good, is that it may be something small, like donating $1, I don't know, to something charitable,
mhm.
but that can still go a long way if everyone donated $1. So it's like it just depends on how you look at it. Again, going back to mindset, like you said, I mean, mindset is everything. You got to be
Mhm.
positive. You got to, do it for the right reason. And I think your whole viewpoint of life would probably change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of those situations where you gotta recognize it. Like in times like these, your characters are tested in a variety of different ways. Very good, bad, and different. It's tested. You have to make a decision. I just did my last one of my early podcasts that we like just aired as an audio, and it's quietly just blowing up little by little. I just advertised what we talked about, which was just all the vaccine stuff. And one of the things I told them is like, you got to make a decision of who you want to be in this time, right? And be willing to live with the consequences either way, right? That's it. It's a very simplistic view of life. It really, really is. But when you get down to it, at the end of the day, it's the only way to be. You got to decide who you're going to be at all times. Every situation, you can decide, you make those decisions every single day. And you have to make those choices. You want to make those choices consciously, which is why fear is such a dangerous thing. If you make a choice because you're afraid, you're not thinking. Instead, that fear rules you, right? That instead of taming your dragon, now you bow to the dragon, right? So it's a very very people don't make their best decisions when they're afraid, ever. So you have to recognize, like, when big decisions are coming. If you're coming at it from a mindset of fear, chances are you're not coming at it from a clear point of view. You're coming at it from a very emotional point of view. And that's a very, very big thing. Now, if you come at it, you've thought about it many different ways, and you make a decision one way or the other, God bless you. That's right. It doesn't really, like, if you've at least thought it through, there's nothing anyone can tell you about it. Because honestly, that's it, right? And you respect it. But when you see people literally are acting out of fear, and you can see it in everything they post, say, and do, those are not people you want to listen to, because those people are not in the right frame of mind, and they won't ever be in that right frame of mind until they face those fears. So
That's very true. Unfortunately, we are emotional creatures. Most people,
sure.
I mean, it's just easy just to react in the moment. That's why so many people get in trouble. But
and it's okay to feel emotion,
for sure.
right? Right. Listen, if you're scared in this time, I can't blame you. If you're angry in this time, I certainly can't blame you. If you're happy in this time, I can't blame you either. Hey, listen, I'm not going to tell you how to live. Just fuck it. I mean, seriously, I'm 40. I don't know anything about how life works. The older I get, the less I know.
True story.
Yeah, I don't pretend to understand, but I understand, like, it's okay to feel. But what happens is, I find if an emotion takes over, any emotion, it can be any emotion actually. If an emotion takes over, you're not fully, I find with most people, they don't fully embrace the emotion for what it is, right? Fear. If you're afraid, you don't want to face that fear, whatever that fear is, right? We'll simplify it just for an example. The fear of death. Oh my God, one day I'm not going to be here. That's a big thought. That is a huge thought. And at some point, all of us kind of have to come face to face. I'm not immortal, and one day I'm going to die. That's a frightening thought for a lot of people, because you can't imagine what comes next. But if you actually face that fear, it's like, well, one day I'm going to die. I don't know what's going to happen next. This is what I hope is going to happen next, but I don't know. All I know is I'm here. There's an acceptance in how I've said that. So now I still have that fear, but it's no longer the one driving the cart. It's just a tool that makes me go, oh, this is how that works. Does that make sense, or am I absolutely crazy?
No, it makes sense. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to answer those questions as far as where they want to stand, how do they want to feel about something. I mean, in a sense, I can get it depending on what it is. But when it comes to making a stand, you kind of do have to choose which side you're going to be on, or like you said, what are you going to do in this time and age? Because change is always happening. Generations change. Our mindset. I know I'm getting old because these latest, like, TikTok, I don't even know how to use it. So it's like, I know I'm getting old because of these youngins.
So I deliberately braced being uncool. Ask Jag. I am very uncool, right? Very, very uncool. And it's okay. I don't need to be hip. I don't need to be with it. I never had it to begin with. So why even try, right? Like, why even just try? Right? What you want, what you embrace is that these things are here, right? You see, look, totally uncool. Like totally backs me up there. right? And we're friends. We're friends because of that. Jag, you should see what my sister wrote on my birthday card on Facebook. You would laugh your ass off. You would just laugh so hard, right? You would just laugh. But see, like I said, I'm a big enough man to I'm okay at being, making fun of myself. It's a good thing because it keeps my ego, big as it is, somewhat in check, somewhat. But I digress. Yeah. At the end of the day, I was able to get on Facebook. I was actually able to do it, and everybody was wishing me happy birthday yesterday because it was a happy birthday.
Oh,
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, like. So my favorite two gifts. Actually, I'll show you one of my favorite gifts. Actually, it's really really cool. So my grandmother came by. She wrote a note because I was in the middle of the meeting. And my favorite part, this is literally one of my favorite things. I'm a sentimental fool. He goes, remember, wherever you go, my love goes with you. And that meant more to me than anything else I got on my birthday, to be perfectly honest with you. Not that I didn't appreciate everything else, but that's everything, isn't it? When you really get down to it. Like I said, not much circumstances in life really matter. What people care about, these are the three things people care about. Do what you love with people you love, and that you're allowed to do those things, and you realize that you are loved in this world. You have people who love you, and so you're not alone. That's all most of us care about.
to some degree. But once you find out something that really triggers you, whether positive, negative, you tend to lose focus of what really makes you happy, which is one thing I have learned when writing the Fight series, because its focus is mental health. People, I guess, get just distracted from what really makes them happy. That's one reason why you have people, even adults, finding cliques, finding, which group to be in, which one's the popular group. And they just follow that trend.
Well, adults are actually the worst, to be perfectly honest with you, because we should know better.
Yeah.
Like, we really should. Right?
No, we never grow up.
Well, no. Kids have an excuse, right? Because kids, right, at the very least, they're learning. Right?
True.
You can forgive it to some extent because it's like, well, I was an even bigger idiot than they were when I was a kid. So
True.
why would I? So I never judge kids to the same level. When an adult does it, it's like, seriously, I'm back in high school. Really? This is what you're doing now? Like when it's like that, you're like, I didn't realize I was the adult in the room. Why am I actually I've had that thought a few times. Why am I the adult in this room? I should not be the adult ever. Ever. But if I am the adult, first off, I'm pissed. Why am I because again, I have to be the mature. God, it's like why?
You're in charge.
Yeah. It's like why is this me? Okay, fine, it's me. I don't really want to do this, but it's me. All right, one. Then two, it's like you look at these people, and sometimes these people that you actually admire, and you're like, why are you doing this? You're better than this. And that's the thing that I think a kid doesn't know better necessarily, right? Or, it's easier as a kid because you're trying to figure out who you are, trying to find that confidence in establishing whatever this person is. But when you're an adult, you should have at least some of that shit nailed down, right? Not all of it, because Lord knows, again, I don't have a full deck. I'm missing some, literally, my playing cards, the back suits have the words fuck on them. So I don't have it all there. I've entertained you so far. I've entertained you quite a bit.
Yes. Oh man, life's just been crazy. So it's nice to actually have just a conversation about nothing involved really with that.
No. So it's just like, so when I'm not playing with a full deck. So if I'm the adult, we're screwed. Second, right? No, I mean, I think the biggest thing about this time for me, honestly, has been not the choices people make, but how they treat each other. That's the worst. And when it's a grown adults doing this, not kids, I honestly like there are a few people that I would literally be ashamed of being around now. And it sounds very harsh, but I could not I can't like there was one person that had a welcome mat, and I looked at that welcome mat and it's like going, well, wait, are you like they literally have wait, are you vaccinated? And I looked at that, I was like, really? You're proud of this. I don't care whether you support the vaccine or not. You're proud of this. I can't. I cannot look at that person in the same way anymore with the same level of respect. I just can't. And it's because again, it's how you are willing to treat other people. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you on your decisions. I'm going to judge you how you treat other people. And that's it. And if you're going to treat anybody like you're superior or that you're trying to literally divide and segregate, I'm not going to respect you. I'm just not.
Oh, I strongly agree. I know I found myself kind of noticing that trend. We went from, blacks and whites and, gays and whatever. And now we got oh, you're vaccine or pro vaccine or not. And no matter what, it seems like everyone's just always looking for a reason to split, whether it's pro abortion, not. Which political agenda are you for? Which side are you on? Or did you support Afghanistan situation or not? And it's like, why? That's one reason if you follow me on any social media platform, I do not get into politics as much as possible. I don't, because it just divides people. Here I am trying to get veterans at least to unite. People understand each other, and all picking and choosing sides does is split people apart. And COVID alone has already put people in a crazy state of mind and depression because everyone has to be 6 feet apart and can't see anybody, can't even hug them. So grandmas and grandpas couldn't even see their grandkids, and they ended up dying before their time, really, just because from basically of a broken heart. And for
Yeah.
what? So it's like I don't want to promote anything that's negative in that way. If it's going to split people apart, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Again, there are things I'm going to be fighting for in the next little bit, but that's yeah. I'm never going to mistreat anybody. Like I said, when COVID first started, this is the only like COVID thing I'm going to mention, and then we'll move on to happier conversations. I remember the first week because I was in Vancouver, and like I was literally watching the world slowly shut. Like every day you go out, and it was like more stores were shutting down, people were disappearing. I remember like I've never seen downtown Vancouver empty in my life. And if you ever go to downtown Vancouver, have you ever seen downtown Vancouver? It's filled with characters and people moving and walking and bustling. I still remember this, right? There was this one guy, he would always, I remember this at the subway, whenever I'd go on my way to work, he would literally down there, head down, like kind of bowed. His hat would be out for change. And we're like, this is like, these are like, right? So the first week, by the end of the first week, everybody would like right before everything went to the mass lockdown, shut down, whatever the case may be, the street was empty. So I was still going to work because I'd take two trains and a bus, and I remember the first week, and I was coming home from work, so I was going from one train to the next train to go home, and I remember I got approached by a guy like he's all dirtied up. He's I think he was home. I think he was one of the homeless guys. He goes, "Hey, listen, you got a pen? Like just pen like this." Like, because he was wanting to draw on the train going to work, and I didn't have anything for to draw or anything like that. And he was like, Okay, yeah, man, thanks. And he held out his fist like this. I hesitated. I'm still ashamed I hesitated a little bit because right then and there it hit me how cruel this time was. Right then, how cruel, how evil this time would be because I hesitated. And if I'm hesitating, other people are going to do worse. And I recognize like this is the real evil of this time, those connections that we have this ability to do and see. And then I realized like this was my like this is again, all this was going in my head in like 10 seconds. This is my come to Jesus moment. Who am I going to be in this time? Am I going to be the guy that fears everybody or everything, or am I going to be I'll embrace anybody no matter what, because again, kindness is going to be a very big premium in this time. And I chose to be kind. I fist bumped in my back. I said, "Yo," and God bless. And that was my decision, and that is always going to be my decision.
Way to go.
Yeah. That's it. So that's who I am. Right? That's who I am. And again, people might disagree with that. Okay. You have a different answer. That's fine by me. I understand. But for me, this is treating people like they're human beings, no matter who they are, where they come from. It's the biggest lesson I've learned doing this podcast. I'm not going to throw that away after everything I've seen and done. Why would like I can't do it. I just can't. And like I said, if COVID had been the nightmare they described, I might have killed myself. But it's like, you know what? I'd rather. I can't do it. It's just not who I am. And that's, someone else might say, well, you should have. It's like, no, I can't. And that sounds really, again, that's my answer. It may not have been your answer or anybody else that's watching or listening to this answer, but that was, again, we have to choose. Character is easy when there's no pressure. Who are you when there is pressure? That's the real question, right? Because that's going to turn who you really are. You don't show yourself when it's easy. You show yourself when it's hard.
It's very true. And it all begins with a decision. So I definitely think you chose right.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So let's see. So now we evaded this at the beginning. We're going to go back to this now. We're going to talk about something else. Because again, I know you a little bit, at least. I'm going to say I know you a little bit. I don't know you well, but I know you a little bit. And I know you're secretly like plotting for like your own version of world domination somehow, some way. So I bring this up like that. And I say it like that because it cracks you up, first off. And second, right, because I know. So what's your aspirations? Like how are you going to become your own boss / queen / world dominator / whatever you want to call yourself?
Well, we still have our family ranch going, so we're trying to make progress with that. Of course, following that economy is hard as it is, and then of course still trying to sell my books and make something of that. Not to say trying to be the number one seller, but helping veterans is still the main goal. But I guess just trying to find those right connections that where the fight series can be of use, beneficial use. That's always in the works.
So refresh me, because I talk to a lot of people and my mind goes happily blank. What kind of ranch are you?
I get, for the most part, we're a Longhorn ranch, Texas Longhorns, but we do have some other crossbreeds of stuff. But I guess basic terms, we're just a cattle ranch, small time here in Texas.
Nothing wrong being a small time cattle ranch in Texas.
Yeah. Nope.
Actually, so do you want to hear my inner criminal come out to play here just for a minute?
Why not?
You have a very unique opportunity in this time. And this is what I would do if I were you and anybody watching, listening. The rules, are going to get weird and weirder as time goes on. I think we all can see that in one way, whether we agree or not. The rules are going to get kind of weird in the next little bit, and so at this moment in time in your situation, especially with shortages being a thing, especially with shortages being a possibility, the fact of the matter is, if people can deal directly with you, like for example, something I would kill to have, and some people are going to think this is weird and crazy. I love milk, especially from the farm. I'd love milk from the farm. If I could get a hold of that here, I would be a very, very happy man. Like very, very happy man, because you would, right? But that's me, and that's just being like you have the opportunity, I think now more than ever, put yourself quietly out there as a place where you can feed families and stuff like that, especially in a time like this. You'd be surprised how well you might do. And I'm not, and I say that honestly, what's going to happen, grand scheme of things, is we've seen this with healthcare workers. We're going to see this with other things. There's going to be a hemorrhaging of the system. The main system is going to get smaller, right? And much like publishing, publishing is a microcosm of what's going to happen with the whole world, in the sense that mainstream publishing is a niche unto itself. It is not, if everybody goes to fight for that niche, right? Not many people are going to be wealthy doing it. But if you have connections all over the place and you realize that there's lots of people out there with things to offer, like yourself, right? Well, suddenly you don't need the system quite so much anymore. If I could trade with you, like for example, if I can use my amazing voice talents to advertise Betsy Ross, world dominator, live and on the air, right? Now, if I was closer, I'd be like, well, I do it for money, or I do it for milk, because that we could come up with an arrangement that's relatively easy for you, right? I get what I
We do
want.
a
You
lot
get
of
what you
bartering
want.
here, don't worry.
What?
We do a lot of bartering, so that's our normal
Yeah, I'm just
around
I'm a
here. Our
little I'm a
small
little
business.
too far away to like
Yes.
to
Yeah.
use your services that way. But that's the thing, like in a time like this, your community, ironically enough, is your salvation, whatever that community looks like. And like I said, so Miss World Dominator, and I'm just going to call you that because I know it's going to make you laugh every time I say it, right?
It's not true.
She's like, you're a crazy one,
No.
but I like you, right? But that's how you got to start thinking. It's no, and same with publishing, right? It's not about hitting that mainstream audience. It's about, my name is Betsy Ross, and this is what I offer. This is what I do. And you need to come out there and support me. So, attention, veterans of the world, I am your voice. Tell me your story. Let people, so I can share them to the world. And suddenly, you can reach out to a community like that. And then for your other nefarious enterprises, because I'm having fun with my wordplay with you. And we need this, and this, and in return, we have meat and we have food. And as long as you have people to trade and deal and work with, small little Texas cattle ranch will do quite well in this time if you play your cards right.
It's very true. Yep. I'm about to graduate with my bachelor's in business, and it's like the more I learn about business, the more it seems like I'm just finding more ways to get away from it. Finding all those loopholes.
Well, that's it. Business is a game of business is basically glorified game theory, is what it is. It's like understanding. It's about understanding what the objective of the game is, right?
True.
If you look at so if you look at from the United States, so the United States game is like this: I am the IRS, and I want your monies. And you're like, I'm the businessman, and fuck you. Like that's the game. Right? right? And
Pretty
that's
much.
the game. Like, right? I mean, it is a very simplified version of the game, but that's the game. So the IRS will allow certain loopholes to take place simply because they know too, if they cut everything off, people stop playing by the rules. So if they're going to cheat, they at least want to know where you're cheating, right? That's right. That's their
Yeah,
game theory. Your game theory is understanding the system you're actually in. And most of us never actually look at the system itself. It's like, so what are the overall rules of game theory? And I'm sure anyone listening or watching this right now is wondering, like, why do you think like this? And the answer is, my dad grew up in the ghettos in Detroit. My grandparents grew up during World War II, so on both sides. So I have a very, very, very different way of looking at things than most people. I can think like an honest man, or I can think like a crook. It really depends on the times I live in, right?
exactly.
And you have to be honest about what kind of world we live in. And the truth is, I mean, if we're really being honest, this is a world without integrity. There is no integrity in the world right now. So if there is no integrity, then being an honest man is not going to serve you as well as it's not going to serve you. An honest system serves honest people. A dishonest system serves dishonest people. So you got to
That's why
understand. You got to understand what you're actually getting into. Most people never look at it like that, and they need to, especially now.
it's a very depressing thought, though. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of good
Sure.
people get cut out. I mean, what about, I cannot remember his name. What about that leader, Marine? He's now in jail. And then, of course, you get these top people getting shut out. I stood up for something that was not patient care worthy, and I got fired because I said anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
But
exactly
you can,
like that.
but yeah, except now we'll save that conversation for off the air, I think,
For sure.
because
For sure.
because I think on the air might get you in more trouble, but off the air we can definitely talk a little
I'm
bit more
always getting in
about stuff.
trouble. Trouble finds me everywhere I
No,
go.
no, no. Sometimes it's not about inviting trouble, right? So but no,
No, yeah.
we have to be honest about the system we live in. We have to be honest about it. Like, there's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts, right? We live in a dishonest time. I mean, and that's the honest truth. I wish it wasn't. Right? I wish it was a more honest world. But in order to get to a more honest world, more people would have to stand up for what is right. It's an ironic thing, but that's the way it is, right? But what do I know? I have a big mouth and I do a podcast.
Apparently it does well. You're doing something right.
Something right. Don't tell anybody. But no, it's like that's like yeah, no, it makes sense. Like this is the time. This is the time to become self-employed because right, however the system goes. I've had like this big thought for the last little bit, and again, understanding game theory, understanding the big picture. I recognized something very, very important about, I'll say, 2 weeks ago. We don't need the system as constructed anymore. I mean, think about it. You and I are having a conversation that we are literally hundreds of miles apart. This is a real-time conversation. A community does not actually require a physical space anymore. Sit there and really think about that. It really doesn't. Go one step further. We have cryptocurrency, which means we don't have to have a banking system. Social media exists. Because social media exists, you don't really need a mainstream media anymore. It's not important. It's not relevant. All of us can invent stuff. Almost every single person that is on a computer today is an engineer of on some level. I play with sound mostly, but I do some video stuff as well, right? And it's partly because I Had to. I had to learn how to do it, right? So sit there and think about it. We have, again, recognizing your worth. We have a bunch of badass Renaissance people that are capable of solving problems on a mass scale in a system that by and large cannot keep up with them anymore. You're chewing on that one, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a very good point.
And when you sit there and to put that point, and when you realize this very, very big thought, then the question, then not to sound relatively conspiratorial, but this is just a big question. What is going on really? What is this really about? If this everything I said is true, what is that about? How does that, right? But that's a big question. It might get me into trouble someday. Because again, I realize that. And since I realize that, I'm middle-aged and crazy. I don't play by the rules the way other people think about them. Again, you've talked to me, right? You've talked to me. Like, how do you think I approach the world? I mean, if you really sit there and think about it, like, this is how I think. Do I look at things the same way everybody else does? What's your professional opinion on that?
Professional? No, I don't think you're very minded, at least, especially you don't follow the trend. Though I think a lot of people are afraid to voice their personal opinions, so I think the statistics are kind of skewed anyway. And I don't know where all these polls come from, so you can't ask them. But no, I don't. Everyone appears crazy, but in that instance, you're just kind of being realistic and honest. So I don't think you're as far fetched as some might believe. And those who do learn to feel good would probably say you are insane.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with being a little crazy. I didn't hear all of what you said, so you kind of went out there for just a minute there. But the general gist is, it's just like the like you got to be honest about what's going on in the world and seeing the world, not just how I always kind of look at like, okay, so deck of cards, right? So one of my favorite lines is from, so yes, as you can see, the word fuck is literally on the back of these cards. There's a story to that, but we'll have that another day. We'll tell that story another day. But so one of my favorite movies, you're gonna see something else here, is My Cousin Vinny. My Cousin Vinny had a great scene I really loved, and that was talked about a legal argument. It goes, a legal argument looks super, super great on the surface of it. It goes, but if you go deep enough and look into it, you can break an argument apart and turn it into this. The idea is if you only get caught on the surface of what you're seeing, it looks invincible. Wrong ace. It looks invincible. But when you analyze it really close, sometimes it's really just a joke. You have to be willing, but you have to be willing to look, see, question, and challenge what is out there. And that is going to be the real, we talked about this, emotions ruling you and things like that. Emotions don't, like, again, I'm not ruled by emotion. I'm asking questions. I'm challenging things. I think right now that needs to be more of a thing we're doing. But when you get right down to the grand scheme, the grand choice of what's going on, at some point you got to look at the narrative that's present everywhere and ask if it's actually real.
It's very true. Some people don't want to know the answer to that, though.
Some people never. Well, not everybody, and not everybody's ready for the answer to that too. But at this point, I think at this point, this time we're gonna all have to face that question at some point. At some point, whether we want to or we don't. But what do I know? I do a podcast and we talk about a lot of bullshit on here. So, meh.
Yep, same.
Yeah. So, are you enjoying the writing life? Since the last few years, since you became a mom and now you're raising more kids and you
I
have an
guess
army of
mostly.
book. Yeah. You disappeared there for a second. Okay, so
I didn't
can you
hear that
repeat
last one. Yep, I didn't hear.
So basically, are you rocking the writing life? Are you enjoying like the new stories you're discovering?
I guess mostly. I haven't really had very many people come tell me their stories, so I'm kind of having to wing it a little bit. But I mean, there's possibilities all around me every time I go out to the real world, go to work. Uh, Something will happen or be said, and it's like, oh, I can add that. But for the most part, for what I have experienced, people I have come across because of the fire activities, yes, everything has been well worth all the negative things said, and all the negativity in the world, I guess. But writing, I've always wanted to be a writer. I love to write. It's just with chaos in my life, it's just very hard to just sit down and write. It's me in school. I'm always writing anyway. So finding time to write for the fight series is distracted right now.
So, so I mean, you got a lot on your plate. Your mom and you still got a day job, in which you're trying to and you're quietly trying to get into your own little world domination business. As we've.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I love making you a supervillain for some reason. It's just one, it's fun, and two, I'm enjoying making you laugh because it's just one of those things where I think you definitely I think need to laugh a little bit more, and I think I'm glad I was
Yes.
able to make you laugh.
Yes. Yes. I love to laugh, but there is so much negativity around the world, and even though I try to promote positivity and being there for other people, it can be exhausting, especially when everyone just responds with wasting time. There's no point. And yeah, it's just hard. I'm always having to find stand-up comedians to go watch, laugh, and distract myself from
So
negative people.
so you kind of faded in and out a little bit, but you're talking about stand-up comedians, right? So who do you like? Who makes you laugh?
I know John Caparulo and Sebastian. I don't remember his name. Like I said, I'm just going through a whole long list of whatever popped up on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. I don't even know all their names. That's pretty sad. But it's not like I'm diehard fans yet. I just think they can be funny. There's like a small handful that are like legit can be funny. Because I don't do the stupid funny. I can't do that.
You don't do stupid funny. Okay. Well, I guess
No.
I'm out. I guess I'm out. Damn it. I'm out.
No.
But no. I know what kind of humor you like, though. I do know what kind of humor you actually enjoy. You enjoy self-deprecating humor. You enjoy it because it's like it's quietly confident. If I can make fun of myself, I know. All right, if I can make fun of myself, I know I'm pretty much the shit. And you're like, but it's true though. Anyone that can make fun of themselves has a quiet confidence to them, and it's always cool to see it. Right, so. In which case, I'm aces. Yes. But so I want to address 2 points. 2 points to you. Something I want you to consider going forward and doing, and when you do your thing. It does matter. Even if you're the only one saying it, it absolutely does matter. So one of my heroes, when COVID started, this isn't a COVID related thing, but just when all this craziness began, the author I went to was C.S. Lewis. And the reason why I picked him was because when England was being bombed by the Germans, when London was about to fall, you know what he was doing? He was on the radio reading what would become Mere Christianity on the radio. And on one hand, it's like, that is like the dumbest thing in the world. Words aren't going to stop the bombs from falling. You're crazy. On the other hand, it's the most important thing in the world because he was giving life and hope to people in a very desperate time that needed hope. You didn't know if you were going to make it to the next day, but you could have a little bit of a conversation with somebody that really cares about you. And that was what he was doing. When you speak, we have this wonderful platform called social media. So we don't have necessarily, again, we don't need a radio. We have this giant thing with a million different people, right? Projecting at once. I mean, I'm projecting in front of some millions of others, right? But here's the thing. This matters. Why? Because life goes on, first and foremost. Second, you're telling your story. And it doesn't matter if right now you're the only one out there. The truth is somebody's going to listen to it sooner or later. And when they find it, they might say, "Well, Betsy, you're crazier than bat poop." On the other hand, maybe what will probably more likely happen is, I've been there. I've seen this. Because we all see a lot of the same things and we all react the same way to a lot of these same things. So even now, if you feel like you're an army of one, do truly. I've been doing motivations pretty much for over 2 years, or actually for 4 years on my Facebook. I do like a daily motivation on my Facebook. I am so surprised at the number of people that read them. I never hear from many of them. So sometimes I wonder if there's like this giant abyss where people are like, is anyone paying attention to what the hell I'm saying? Turns out, yeah. Yeah, they are. And I see I connected with you. So, Miss Betsy, my nefarious supervillain friend, who cares an awful lot about how the world works. Never be afraid to shine your light in the darkness. You'll encourage others to shine as well. Always and always. Right? It's not about whether you win or lose the fight. That doesn't matter. Like I said, circumstances don't really matter. You'd like to see wins. Trust me. We all want to see more wins than sometimes we get. That'd be nice, right? But it's important that you are who you are and that you stand up for what you believe in the way you know how. That, again, our interview, I find this time is about character and who you are. Who do you want to be, my friend? And just be that person as you can. And don't be afraid to share it to the world. And really, who cares if someone doesn't say, "It don't make a difference"? Fuck you. It made a difference. I said it. Deal with it, motherfucker. I said it. Right? And if you didn't make a difference, you wouldn't have said a damn word to begin with. So fuck off. Right? So,
Amen.
yeah, that's it, right? That
Yep.
right. And now that may not be quite to my like colorful language. It doesn't have to be either. You might be nicer than me. I somehow feel that's yes and no. You're more polite than I am, I think. Though, I think you're probably a bigger badass than I am. I'm almost certain of it. But when you come right down to it, everything matters. It's not nothing. Everything matters. Who you are, what you stand for, what you say, what you do. That's the real measurement of you. And if nothing else, I have fought the good fight. I have maintained the course. I have kept the faith. That's not just about God. That's about everything in life you do. Have faith in what you do, right? And it's okay if you're wrong, by the way. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. When you realize it, when you realize your mistake, own it. But do the best you can with what you know how to do, because at the end of the day, that's all any of us can do. And if you did that, it's pretty decent where I sit.
Hallelujah. No, I definitely needed that reminder. It's
Yeah.
it's it's very hard to you try to be motivational for other people and then you just have your days you're just like I can't take my own advice.
You
But
need to hear.
when someone
Yeah.
else just reads exactly what I'd say or say exactly what I'd say, okay, I hear you.
It's okay to take a break too. Listen, you can put you could put you can post about sprinkles and ice cream. It's okay. And no one's gonna hold that against you. It's okay, right?
True.
Right? You don't have to fight every single day. But when the time comes, you stand up for what you know. That's it. I know, and again, and I'm making this sound so simple because Lord knows simple and easy is not the same thing, especially when the world seems to be all going down this batshit insane route. You're like, what the fuck? But, but sometimes, again, it's not when it's easy. It's when it's hard that you know who you really are. So, as a friend, I'm going to say friend. I don't know you that well. I'm going to say it as a friend. Stay true to yourself and don't worry about the rest of it. And make peace with it. And it's okay. Right? It's okay. And if the rest of the world thinks you're crazy, that's okay. The rest of the world doesn't have to look in the mirror. Right?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. This was timed perfectly. Glad we
Good.
could do this
Yeah.
today because I definitely needed that. Like you said, life was
Yeah.
just crazy.
Well, just well, you need to be reminded of what kind of supervillain you are first and foremost. So we did that. Shh. Your secret's safe with me and maybe
Yeah.
Jag knows you're a supervillain.
Jag is cool. Jag can tag along.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, no, like I've made a decision what I'm gonna do. I already know, like for me, it's going to be for a lot of people like the reverse of everything I've stood for, but it's the opposite. It's everything. It's everything I stand for. I'm just willing in this time to I'm willing in this time to look foolish, to be wrong, to be silly, to be a fool because I believe it's the right thing to do. And I might be wrong at the end of the day. I can accept that. But it's again, no one's on the right side of everything 100% of the time, first off. But I also had like my mom sent me a birthday wish. And I remember this is she told me about Bite to go and get a real job, right? Because you know, I'm not wired for that anymore. I'm just not. Like I cannot take my bosses. I can't. I can work for people, but like I said, I signed a nice little freelance deal, and I can't say for who, what, where, and how right now. And I'm working for them, and I'm totally cool with it because of the nature of the arrangement I have. But I can't do that full time anymore. I just do not have it in me anymore to do that. I'm
I get
wired
it.
yeah, I'm wired differently. I'm not meant to do that. I am meant to just do my thing, whatever that thing is. And to and I have to be okay with it. I have to be willing to take those chances, go out on limbs. I'm gotta be willing to get my ass kicked. But it's about doing what I feel is right. It's about the chances I'm willing to change, the mistakes I'm willing to make. They will hurt a lot lot less than regrets. If I know something's right and I don't act on it, I'll feel that for the rest of my life. I don't know how people do it because that hurts way too fucking much.
I agree.
Yeah. I feel like I've been your psychologist for an hour.
Like I said, you basically have.
Uh,
No,
yeah,
it's good to
but
just talk about things. That's what's funny about, I
yeah,
think most people just miss nowadays. You don't have to talk about politics. You don't have to talk about anything
no,
particular. You can just talk
I
about whatever and just go.
you needed to talk about. You had a moment like, am I doing the right thing? And this talk with me, I think with you has been like, well, I don't know if it's the right thing, but I feel it's the right thing for me to do, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's absolutely everything you need, right? So, and again, we don't know. We're not going to know, like, whatever decisions we make now, we may not know if they're right for years to come, right? That's the other thing too. It's like, but again, keep the faith, who you are and what you stand for, because it fucking matters.
I strongly agree.
Yeah,
I try to motivate others to do the same, but, everyone's fighting their own demons and their
sure.
own journey. And I don't know. I think everyone just gets lost in what they're doing and comparing it to other people. And they're like, why am I doing what I'm doing if everyone else is doing this? Or, you know,
Again, I'm okay. I am deliberately uncool. It's all right to be deliberately uncool. I don't know what other people are doing. Sounds like too much work to figure that shit out. I don't know. I can barely. Listen. If I put on pants some days, it's a win. Okay, that's how that's a very 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 small battle in the grand scheme of things. But that's the people are going to do what they're going to do, and it's not your place to look. Okay, you've busted your ass on that ranch. That ranch now, compared to where it was 3 years ago, is probably in a lot better place than it was 3 years ago. Right?
yes,
So,
definitely.
what most people will never see is how hard you and your husband worked to get it to that point. You're almost at the point now where I get the feeling that, and again, we're not going to say anything too much on the air because you might get your ass in trouble, but you're at that point where you're like, I'm almost ready to walk. I'm going to have more time on my hands sooner than later, and that is a glorious feeling, isn't it? Now, granted, you're going to be momming. You're going to be momming a lot more, so you're not going to have that much more time because it's like, oh my God, don't touch that, and you're going to be like jumping at 3,000 miles an hour. Don't jump there. Don't go this. And then some days you're going to be like, when baby's in nap time, you're going to need a nap too. Oh my God. How did it? It's like, why are you doing this? And you look up to the universe. I was not like this. I swear to God. And then your mom or your dad, you're like, no, you are exactly like this. This is the universe going, right? But all of that said, um, you've worked your ass off to get to this point, and everybody sees the result. Very few people recognize the journey you took to get there. So,
I agree. I think that's with everything, though.
mm-hmm. So when you look at social media, you aren't seeing the work on anybody. You're just seeing the result. That's all you're seeing. Very rarely do people openly put up their stuff. I'm an obnoxious cheerleading asshole. I'm putting up everything because I don't give a rat's ass. But here's the thing. right? Never get caught. Never get caught with what other people are doing or where other people are at. It doesn't matter. What matters is where are you? What are you doing? And again, if there are people that you give a damn about, how are they reacting to you? Because that's it. The rest is nice. The rest is nice. I mean, look, I would love it if I had more than hundreds of people listening to my show every week. I'd love thousands or tens of thousands, but I still have hundreds. That's cool, right? Be grateful for what you have, and don't worry about what you don't, because it ain't gonna make a damn bit of difference anyway. You can still go get you can go try to get the things you don't have, but that's that's a journey in itself. That's a process. So embrace the process, and honestly, and if people choose to get distracted with every little thing in life, well, they're not ready to deal with their own process. That's all there is to it.
That's very true. Uh, as a thinker myself, now I've got a bunch of things I've got to think about. It's like,
I
I
do
was
this
like,
to
huh.
everybody. I do this.
It's like, what? Oh my goodness. But you're right. I mean, it is true. And it's just awesome to really see other people, I guess, with similar mindsets, not just following the trend, not just thinking one side or the other. You're open minded. You're just do
I
you, be
openly don't give a
happy.
fuck. I openly don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
And, and I play by my own rules, and that's going to get me in trouble in the years to come. I know this, but I can't be anything but who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for it to anybody. Right? So, and that's just the way it is. Again, I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I'm willing to stand for. I know what I'm willing to let go, and I'm willing to do everything it takes on the journey to do this. The rest, I don't give a damn. And again, and again, for the next few years, I get it. People are going to think this is they're going to look at me initially and go, this is against everything you stand for. No, this is everything I stand for. And I'm going to, again, I might be wrong. I accept that. I am not, I am a man that puts his pants on one leg at a time, still needs to poop, likes his coffee a little too much, has probably too much of a sweet tooth for his own damn good, and and gets distracted by things like boobies all the time. I'm still not an adult, and I don't get I get distracted. I'm not perfect, and I'm certainly fallible, and I'm going to make a shit ton of mistakes. But I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm going to just do it and learn and do what I need to learn to go. The rest doesn't really fucking matter. And when it's all because again, I'm not if I am unless I am in a really special position, no matter how bad I fuck up, right? The world is barely going to notice, right? I'm not that important. And that's a good thing. Right? So
I get that.
yeah. Like, I'm not that important. So and I don't need to be either. I just would rather just what I'd rather like this is what I like doing. I like shooting the shit with people, right? You know, we got to get you to talk a little bit more because I think I again I know you're taking a lot in. I'm just curious some of the thoughts in your head just because again you're in super grown ways. But at the same time, like that's it. I can go do my own thing. I'll learn what I need to learn, do what I need to do, and the rest will be the rest. That's all there is. That's all there magically is to it. Everything else doesn't really fucking matter. And again, I'm simplifying. Like doesn't none like simple, easy, not the same thing, right? But keeping it fucking simple will at least give me a compass to where I need to go. right? And then the rest is just me showing up and doing the work, right? Which sucks because I'm a lazy procrastinating fuck too, because I'm an artist and I'm a flake and all that other wonderful bullshit that comes along with it. But but I'm willing to do the work. And based on what I've seen of you, my friend, so are you.
I do try. I I bust my butt for anything and everything I do. If I'm doing it, it's because I'm passionate in some form or fashion, and it is frustrating when people will say, "Well, either don't do enough," or "Oh, that's all you do." Because I know a lot of authors on Twitter will be like, "Oh, you're just an author. That's all you do." It's like, no, I can write a book on everything I have been doing. So literally of just what I've been doing. So it's like,
See again, Renaissance woman slash engineer slash problem solver slash see, and you say you're not a badass. Fuck you're not,
I
right?
adapt and overcome.
Yeah, it's just you're actually blushing. That's awesome.
Oh my God.
I'm
Nope.
sorry.
I just adapt. I just go with things, and that is how my life
There's
is.
not that is life, right? But
Kind of.
but
Most
but but
people stick with
but
one
again,
thing.
now no one does anymore. Like I said, I just wanted to write books, Betsy. That's all I wanted to do. And here I am, mate. Here I am being your psychologist for the last hour and a little bit. I didn't plan this life. I really didn't.
Yep. Yep. Just that's why I just wing it. Like I can't. There's really no point in planning. I mean, I have goals and how I'd like to live my life, but if things happen, I'm just rolling. Okay, let's do this. Okay, this happened. All right, let's do this. An obstacle hit. Okay, cool. How are we gonna get over it? Are we gonna go around it? What are we doing? Change plans? Do an ABCD all together? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know if I have ADD. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I have some form of it because I'm always going, going, going. I'm a severe multitasker. I do have severe
What?
anxiety, but I use it to my advantage.
So, how do we do this? 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 Okay, so let's I wouldn't see you. I don't see you as someone with anxiety. I really don't like that. Like maybe like again, you know you better than me. So this is might be one of those things where I am completely off my rocker. Well, I guess I've been off my rocker since before we started talking, but that's okay. I might not know what the hell I'm talking about here. So if I don't, that's like by all means, just take what you can and throw out the rest. But you've seen a lot, and you're tough. You're tough. Again, you talked about this. You were a veteran. I forget what combat or what part of comp service you did in full, right? But you saw shit. You've been a medical thing. Medical people see all kinds of shit, right? They do. Good, bad, and different. They do. My dad. So here, fun story. My dad's a naturopath. He's working at a nutrition house in London, Ontario. And I remember this. This was the first time I've seen. This was the first time in my life I ever saw medical injury, which was right. So this 13-year-old boy with his parents walked in. Now this 13-year-old boy was most people thought obese when they first see him. He wasn't. He was suffering from the antidepressant he had taken had damaged his pituitary gland, so he stopped growing and kept growing in other ways as a result. And this was my first time I saw a medical injury. It wasn't the last time, right? I saw a lot of things through my dad and through my family, and so I've seen, oh shit, this shit can happen. You're a doctor. You've seen. God only knows how much more you've seen than I have, right? Right, and what I've seen made me go, right? You'd be like, there's right. You're resilient. It's not that it's not that you. It takes a lot to shake you because you've been through a lot of things. I'd like to meet your husband someday because I think I get the impression he's a lot like you. He's probably as tough as they fucking he have to be just to keep up with you, right?
Well, he did
And
serve 8 years
what?
as infantryman.
So yeah, he's a tough son of a bitch. So and I say that with all due respect,
Of
Mr.
course.
Ross. I'm not going to say it with disrespect because I don't want you to turn me into a pretzel or what, like a balloon animal. Like, Ross, don't do that. Please don't. I'm brittle. But he's probably
Oh my god.
the impression I get just based talking to you, strong but gentle. Is probably the impression I get of him, honestly. But that maybe I'm wrong on that, but something tells me that's what he is. And and so that's why I'm saying this all respect, gentle people are the strongest people in the world. They always are. And so the thing is you're resilient and you've been resilient. And it's not that you're multitasking. It's like, seriously, unless the fire is right in front of you, you ain't gonna panic. The world can be in fire around you, but you're gonna be like, it's just another day. What the hell? All right. So
Amen.
what in this do I need to deal with? And I'm going to just trust that it's going to work out with everything else. And if it doesn't, it's not really anything I can do about it anyway. So fuck it. So what is in my way? This. Okay, I'll deal with that. And the rest of this, and whereas everybody's like going, oh my god, blah, 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 you're like, okay, just this, and I'm through, and I'm just doing my thing. And they're like, how can you do that? And I'll be like, well, I can't control this, I can't control that, I can't do anything about this. So what's the fucking point, right? If you had a beer, I'd have a drink with you and kind of watch it burn because I don't know what else to do.
Very true. That is very true.
I don't know if that's anxiety or ADD. I just think that's resilience.
Well, I do have insomnia too, so
Nobody's perfect.
nope.
It's-
Nope. But like I said, I take advantage of it. I've got a lot to do anyway, so let's go.
Nobody's perfect. Again, I'm just throwing this your way. Just people think the fact that they can overcome things is necessary because there's something wrong with them. No, it's because you've been through things. The world put you in wrong situations and you figured out how to handle them. Sometimes you did well, sometimes you didn't. Either way, you came out of it a lot tougher.
Maybe. I guess it's debatable.
Oh, maybe. Mayhap, if I make one final observation about you, you could be a little kinder to yourself. A little bit. It's okay. Eh,
I hold high standards.
I'm not saying you're an angel. I'm really not. Like don't get it twisted. I'm sure. Again, we can talk about your truly nefarious things on another episode somewhere down the road. But the biggest thing I've learned in this life is most people sell themselves short. You could look at what you don't have instead of what you do. Right? You can look at like I have ADD and anxiety. Again, you might do. I'm not again, I could be totally off my base there. But it sounds to me like you were just put in some very tough situations that you've overcome or you got your ass kicked, either or. And either way, sometimes when you get your ass kicked, it's like the old martial arts thing. You get beat. Thank you for the lesson. And it sounds like a really coy way of saying fuck you, but no, honestly, sometimes the ass kicking teaches you more than the victory, and sometimes the victory is a test. Victory is often a preparation of going through failures and dealing with like great obstacles, and so again, this might sound like I'm building you up, and I am a little bit because it's easy for me to be a cheerleader. It's what I do. But you say ADHD anxiety. I just see a resilient person that has dealt with a bunch of shit and has overcome, has won some battles and lost some battles, and just doesn't get rattled as easily as some other people do. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I might get another blush before this is all said and done.
Well, I do appreciate that, but I don't know. I don't really think of anything like that. People are always like, "Well, you're a veteran, you're a hero. You work in the medical field, you're a hero." I don't see it as something glamorous. It's just I just do things. I love what I do, so I do it.
Mhm.
And I have overcome things. I have tried to adapt and overcome as one of my sayings I like to follow. I pretty much try to live by that. You know, there's an obstacle, great. How are we going to figure this out? And if there's, other people involved, okay, how can we care? It's not just me. I'm trying to take care of the situation that can benefit everybody. And it's very hard to do when you're surrounded by very negative people.
So, can I offer a very humble suggestion? Can I?
Of course.
If you can cut those negative people out, like, I just do it. You'd be a lot happier.
True.
Yeah. I'm old and curmudgeonly, and I openly don't give a shit. Oh, you're gonna just run down everything I do. Okay, bye. I don't need you. I don't need someone just to cheerlead me to death either. It's like, oh my god, everything you do is awesome and amazing and wonderful. No, I don't need that either. But if everything you say to me is going to be just this one dimensional, oh, this is never gonna work. Well, get lost. I don't need you, right? I don't need a yes man either. I don't want someone's someone's lips connected to my butt the whole time either. I don't need that much of an ego stroke. But I think, yeah, it's just filtering people out's okay. Sometimes doing that leaves you room to more people that think more like you.
Very true. And that is probably what I appreciate most. Is just being able to find those people. So few and far between.
But they're worth it.
Yes.
Mm.
Very, very much.
But yeah, I won't call you a hero because again, as we started at the very beginning, that's pride before a fall, and the last thing you want to be in North America is a hero. So I won't call you that. What I will call you though is a very capable person, and if maybe it's okay. It's okay to say you're awesome and made of cheese, Betsy. It's okay. Maybe not the made of cheese part, but it's okay. It's okay.
But
One of the hardest things to do, so book wise, I don't know if you're a professional wrestling fan. I am. I admit, grown men fake fighting in trunks is somewhat my jam. I admit it's a problem, but what I really love, is the old like 1980s wrestling. Like I'm a big Macho Man Randy Savage fan. Like that's someone who I was a big fan of growing up. Oh yeah, thinking all the time, snapping to a Slim Jim, all that stuff, right? But as dumb as that stuff was, I realized a very important thing about sales. And maybe this is where you can leave the interview off on the best foot, and maybe something for more things for you to think about. Okay.
Of course.
So Macho Man Randy Savage made millions of dollars getting people to leave the comfort of their own home to go to this obnoxious arena and pay for a ticket and buy overpriced beer and food that is not fit for human consumption to watch him beat this guy up. And he did it night after night after night for years. How did he do it? And the thing is, part of it was he dressed up like over the top. He had this obnoxious hat and glasses he'd wear, and he had this goatee, and he had this voice that was very memorable. Oh yeah, right, and all that stuff, right? And my impression is terrible, and that's on purpose because I am truly bad at that sort of thing. But the real secret, he did two things really, really well. The first is he knew who he was and he knew who he wasn't. And he understood exactly what those things were. And he played up to it. My favorite wrestling promo of all time is him coming with coffee creamers going, the cream rises to the top. It is the silliest thing you'll ever watch. It makes no fucking sense, but it's so fun. The second thing though is the most important. He believed in it. He believed in who that guy was, and he was able to project that out. Writers have this really hard thing. They're like, I just want to create shit, man. I just want to just do things. I don't want to talk about it. Fuck that crap. It's hard. It's salesy. It sounds fake and all that other bullshit. And to an extent, you're kind of right. Because it's like, oh my God, no one talks about themselves this way. No one's going to say, my name is Josh and I'm awesome and stuff. Seriously, what kind of fucking asshole am I to do that? It's like, what the hell is that? But your problem, see, is there are people like me out there who are obnoxious and will say, I am awesome on the air just because I can do it. So it's forcing you to actually have a big mouth and open their mouth and say, hi, my name is Betsy, and my book is awesome. Maybe not quite ice cream awesome, but it's awesome nonetheless. Right? And you got to take that little piece of yourself that you're willing to present to the world. And if I may be so bold, I'm going to make this. You're a passionate person that cares about the world. It's one of the best things about you personally. And finding a way to present that passion in a way that people will connect to, if you take the time to invest in that, you will find that people will respond to you. It's not just the stories you tell. You're the product. As much as your books are, you're the product. So you got to figure out that part of you you're willing to share to people. And the part I would suggest is your passion, because your passion's incredible. You don't have to be loud, thank God, because I'd have competition and I'd be afraid. You don't have to be. You don't have to be obnoxious or boisterous, but you have to be authentic. So find that part of you, whatever part of you that you are willing to share, that you can share honestly and freely with people, and establish a relationship that way. Marketing and sales, when you break it all down, is all about relationships. That's it. It's not rocket science. It's about relationships. People buy the books to support you. Your book is a byproduct of your real product, which is you. Your ranch is a byproduct. That's you and your husband both. The way you connect to people is to make people realize that you are people. You don't have to show everything, and I'm not saying you should. But you find that part of yourself that you can share. so you can deal with the obnoxious asshole that is myself that goes on the air and just can be as silly as possible and try to make you laugh and smile and do this because we've established a bigger connection. And you, dare I say, I made a really good impression on you this episode. So now you're going to look at anything I do and you'll be like, he's really fucking cool. Support this guy. Why? Because I'm me. That's the whole of the secret. This is what I learned from professional wrestling. And you have to take that lesson yourself as a businesswoman, as a creative, as a farmer. Most of us is find that little piece of yourself that you can share. And like I said, for you, you're a passionate person that gives a shit about the things she gives a shit about. So show those things and don't be afraid. Shout it to the rooftops, or at least speak to the rooftops, because that's who you are. And when you find that who you are, you might be a small group, but it'll be your group. And you will find support in places you never imagined.
True.
I
agree.
Yeah.
Networking is key. It's just challenging sometimes.
That's well, like I said, just you need to find you. Like that authentic. Again, you don't have to share everything. And you shouldn't. But you need to find that piece that you're like, okay, I'm going to share this to the world. And if someone wants to make fun of me for it, I'm big enough to give them the finger. I'm mature enough to do that and keep going. Or maybe even be more mature than me and not give them the finger and just keep going and not worry about it, right? Right, whatever, right? But you get the idea, right? That's and because you're worthwhile, you do amazing things. And I know that I know you're like, yeah, no. You keep going, you're brave, you're passionate, you give a shit, you're a talented writer, you're a talented person. Recognize your worth.
I'll think about it.
I got you thinking though quite a bit this episode. I can tell.
Yes. No, but self-marketing is very difficult. Even though I've
It
taken
is.
marketing classes, it's
No, it's the hardest. It's so much easier for me to cheer for you than it is to cheer for myself.
yes. Exactly.
Yeah. But and I got another blush there.
Well,
A little bit
maybe.
of one.
But it is just making me think that maybe fight can really get a word out, because I don't necessarily want to sell myself. I want people to read the book. But you are right. It's still part of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a challenge for me.
Maybe. But I mean, again, this is the hardest part about self-marketing. The hardest part about self-marketing is being comfortable doing it. Again, I got awards. I've done 651 episodes. Right? And I don't got a problem talking about any of it. But I'm not really thinking about it in that way. I would rather build you up or help you than talk about me. But where I am somewhat a genius with a K is in talking to you, I'm also promoting me. This is the nature of this show. So I can build you up and make that a part of my brand, per se. Like this is we're gonna get purely marketing here and not worry about selling myself specifically. I don't need to. Right? Right? So, but when it comes to my books, because I got Alice 1's coming out in December, I'm going to have to go and now make an ass of myself in front of other shows and promote myself as much as possible. but I'm comfortable doing that because I have lots of practice talking to people, and I know kind of what I want to share to people. I know what I'm passionate about. I know what I give a shit about, and there are things I won't talk about on the air. Like I will never talk about my political affiliations on the air. I will never talk about um, family stuff too much. I'll tell like a little bit that I have a family, but I'm not going to get into all the details there. My relationship stuff, I'm not going to talk about too much of the details there. There are things I won't share, but there are things I will. And you have to be willing, you have to figure out what those things are. But I'm sorry, I'm sorry I ruined it for you. You're going to have to share something because it's just the nature of the world we live in today. I'm sorry. You can blame me. If you want to blame me, you can just blame me. Okay?
No. No. No, I get it. It's just, I don't know. I just see fight as something very special. It's not a typical book. It's not written in a general sense, even though it's fiction. So it's like I'm having to really think how I'm going to do it without,
Okay, so
I don't know,
let's have some.
ruining the whole agenda behind it, I guess.
No, well, why is it a special book for you? Like actually, just talk about it for a minute. Let's see if we can brainstorm a little on the air before we wrap up. And since we're coming to the point we gotta wrap up anyway, we must talk about your books. So, why is this so special to you?
Well, I've lost battle buddies to suicide, and just looking around, seeing so many veterans that have struggled transitioning, even though we have so many resources out there, there's many of us struggling, and some of us are very good at hiding it, saying we're out of the military, we're free to do whatever we want now. Well, eventually we come to a wall and no one's there to help us, and all of a sudden we lose communication as far as expressing what we're thinking and feeling. And I know I experienced very negative things, and it took me many years to get over it. Maybe I'm not completely over it even still, but people would keep asking why are so many veterans committing suicide? They say 22 too many. It's beyond 22 now a day that commit suicide. Well, I wanted to be a voice in a way to express and partially, I guess, vent my own story through my characters that, you know, give words to those people who can't express what they're thinking or feeling to their family or spouse or um, the world in general of what's going on. Um, the military is, basically one big ball of stress, and when you let it go, it's like it's relieving, but at the same time, you basically feel like you're in thin air. Just no one there to catch you. You're expected to do so much just because you experienced so much, and the brain just is not, I guess, catching up with itself. It just feels like you're, I guess, going in circles and you don't know what to do. So I kind of created a fictional world, but this realistic fiction so people can still relate. So I wanted to write a book, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but I was like, hey, this needs to be said. Let's do it this way. But I wrote it in a way that's personal to each character so that when a reader is reading it, you're in that person's head. You're feeling what they're feeling. You will see and hear what they are seeing and hearing in that moment. That way, there is no narrator to distract what is going on in that person's head. That's why it jumps around so much. And I fear that's what turns a lot of people away from wanting to read it, because it does jump around some, but I want it to be personal.
So can I ask because we very briefly touched about this at the very beginning of this conversation, because this was a theory of mine, and I could be again off base, but this is a theory of mine. Again, we live in a construct of what society is. When you serve, you train, you are given tools, critical thinking, problem solving skills, and you are put to almost the pinnacle of what you can do in a very short period of time, all things considered. You all become warriors, people that serve, doctors, technicians, engineers. You have incredible training and you learn so much so quickly. And then you're put into these experiences that your husband's an infantryman for 8 years. That means he's probably seen some form of combat somewhere. I got no frame of reference to that. And you same with you, like whatever again, off the top of my head, I don't remember what you were trained in, whether it was Air Force or ground or like I don't remember what it was for you off the top of my head, but you experience things very few of us understand because we've never seen it. Which is why you guys, like the military, any military, whether it's Army, Navy, whatever, you're a family because you guys see the same things and do the same things all the time. And then one day, you're free. And now you go into a completely, that paradigm you knew before you started now no longer suits you for a lot of different reasons. You're overqualified. There's the majority of these jobs are a joke to you. Not because you don't, they're not because they're necessarily a joke job. It's because oh my god, we got this quarterly report that's due, blah, 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 blah. And what the fuck? You've seen people live and die on decisions on a battlefield. I don't care what corporate job you got. Doesn't compare, not even the slightest. Right? And on top of that, that's just one example. There are others, but basically you find yourself isolated in a place. These people that you've served do have no concept of what you've been through. So it's hard to have empathy, right? Because I have no idea what you've been through. If I comfort you about something you've been through, it's not going to be the same thing as if somebody that has actually been there was. And that makes sense. I'd be a hypocrite to say anything else. I only have my own experiences to go by, not yours, right? And I can empathize to a point, but only to a point. And then beyond that I can't go with you anymore. And I'd like to think I'm a little more understanding than some, but even I have my limits. I can't do that. So at some point, you guys, the wall you hit is, what's my purpose in this world? Because I knew what my purpose was there. And I was okay with it. I made my decision. I went in this voluntary. What the fuck do I do now? Am I right? Is that the wall you hit, or am I?
For most veterans, it does seem that way. They don't know what to do with themselves anymore.
Mm-hmm. So how about you? What was it for you that turned it around?
I'm not sure exactly what clicked for me. Because even after I was getting out, I was just making bad choices just because I was drinking way too much because I was trying to just forget everything. And yet I wanted to remember things. So it was like, it was a very, very dark time in my life. But eventually I met my husband and started writing my book and started a career. And then it was like, we built the ranch. And then it was just like, things just started to fall into place again. So I know there was a lot more. There was a lot, exactly. But there were a lot of moving parts. And a lot of it, I don't feel like I was the main person driving the vehicle at the time. It was more of just, yeah, I made some decisions and people came and went. And then things kind of just landed where they were. And so I'm not sure exactly what the exact turning point was. I just know things started happening and I take advantage of any opportunity I could and started writing a book. I mean, I know some people expect just some big dramatic fancy Hollywood answer, but it's like, I don't know. I kind of just wing life now. I've learned to just can't control everything. You gotta adapt as it comes.
Well then, I think So I think we have a bit of an answer if you want to actually talk about why you care so much. I think the part I would like, because you were in those dark places. I'm not saying glorify those dark places, but I mean that's something you could talk about. The other thing you could talk about too is like what was your life like before and what was your life now, right? There's some things you could. There's some things again. Just this is just a friendly little brainstorm before we wrap up. You don't have to take a damn thing I said seriously, but I just bring all this up is because you know you care about that story because you lived through it, and because you lived through it, and you're still here. So yeah, again, resilient. I'm definitely going to say is a word to describe you. Like you're trying to help other people find their resilience, I think.
I believe that.
So maybe that's where you should market it. How you should be marketing this.
That's a very good point.
I just have a podcast. I just make stuff all the time.
You just say fancy words, just make it happen.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Ask Jag. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying half the time. So, but no, this is what I do. So, we've had a great conversation. I think.
Definitely.
I feel like I gave you something. I gave you some things you needed tonight, and that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like. And yeah, don't sell yourself short. That's the only thing I'm going to tell you that I think if you're guilty of anything, it's that. And just don't. It's important. What you do is important, and don't ever underestimate that. Just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and don't worry. Just you know what. When the big man says you've done what you're supposed to do, he'll let you know. I promise you, he'll let you know.
True. Very
right?
true story.
Yeah, he'll let you know. Right? To the rest. Yeah, I said I'd love to meet your husband someday. Just I think we'd have a very fun conversation. But in the event I don't, you've done a lot. You've done a lot of impressive things, and I hope we do this sooner than what we did last time, because I'd like to see where you go in a few more years. I would definitely would. Maybe someday I'll come visit you, and you can show me everything you've done. That'd be kind of cool, right?
That would be cool.
But that all said, don't sell yourself short, ever. You've done a lot of impressive things, and take a minute. Look back just a minute, and just see where you are today. It's impressive as hell, and don't ever doubt that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have an interview here, Miss Betsy. What do you think?
It's been good.
You good? You happy with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You happy with this? So we should probably do like the big giant promotion. So tell people where you can be found. What you're at book 4, right? The fight series.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So talk about that, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. See, Fight 1, 2, and 3 are all available on Amazon, paperback and Kindle. Fight is actually also available on audiobook and Barnes & Noble's website. I can be reached through Instagram and Twitter, and I now recently have a Facebook page for Fight by Betsy Ross, I think is what it allowed me to keep. For some reason, when you announce Fight on Facebook, it's a negative thing.
It's a bad word.
It's a bad word. So I had to somewhat be creative for it to keep, even though there's other pages called Fight, but not for the same reason. But so that's Fight with Betsy Ross on the Facebook page. But they are all under 100 pages.
Yeah, hold on a second here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do a really cool thing for Betsy here, and then we're going to get to up here. That's that is her Amazon page. You can find her works there, and definitely should find her works there, because she does good things, ladies and gentlemen, and definitely should. So what's your Instagram?
Instagram is Ross 4. That's the number 4.
All right, you faded out there just a second. So it's Ross. Is it like underscore or anything like that?
The number 4 and vet.
Ross for vet.
Ross for vets.
Like that.
I don't see anything.
Oh, that's the downside of StreamYard. You don't get to see the cool comments. It's Instagram.com/ROSS for VETS.
Correct.
All right. Well, folks, I probably sometimes I feel like I should be charging for my psychology here, but
you probably should.
Yeah. But this is Betsy, badass woman. Whatever she says to herself, badass woman's probably a supervillain. Don't tell anybody I said that. Well, tell everybody I said that. Whatever, it's all good. I want to thank my sponsors for this month: Paula Viva, Golem, and Chandler Green, Wiggers, the Well-Dressed Wombat. There will be a bit there. Golem is available now, and Wiggers, the Well-Dressed Wombat is coming out November 8th. Definitely check them out. Definitely check out the episode descriptions for links to all that stuff. Outside of that, my Twitch is twitch.tv/justjoshingpodcast. Click the like, follow button there. My YouTube channel is Joshua Pentellaresco. Like, subscribe, enable notifications there. Alice 0 is nominated for the Elgin Award this year. Alice 1 comes out December 1st. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. Keep making beautiful things. They matter, especially now. And I'll see you guys Thursday with a really cool guest. And then I'll get to make some hopefully cool announcements. Because next week there's gonna be no stream next week. No streams, except for maybe at the beginning and ends of the week, because I signed a really cool contract. I'll be working on some other things for next week. So I'm gonna be pretty busy. The first week's going to be the busy one. Everything else will balance out. But got some cool guests coming up and some cool people lined up. So I want to thank Betsy for coming on my show. I want to thank everybody that watched it. I want to thank everybody that listened to it. And I'll see you guys Thursday with more.